Welcome, I'm Nancy Burdick, your host of So Many Possibilities, a program dedicated to the local fiber arts scene. Today's episode focuses on what to do when your child comes home and says they want to learn how to sew. You may not own a sewing machine, you may not know how to sew, or you may have all of those things already in the bag. This program is going to show you how you can use some resources locally to help your child master sewing. There are a few places around the area that offer programs for after-school sewing or weekend sewing. Franklin Mill, Wayside Sewing, Joann Fabrics sometimes, Sew Studio Southborough, and Studio on the Hill in Holliston. A lot of these places offer in-person classes, small group classes, and sometimes they offer one-on-one instruction. It's very much like what you'd see if you looked on YouTube for a tutorial or a how-to on how to make a bag or a stuffed animal or a pillow. But just as we know, some people learn better in a video, some people learn better with one-on-one instruction. Today we're focusing on places you can go for your child to have a teacher with either a project-led sewing instruction, or they can come in with a project of their own creation and get some support as they work through it. We had the opportunity to meet with Betsy G., owner of Sew Studio Southborough, where she walked us through the focus of the classes and the age group of the students and what people can expect when they sign up for one of those classes. So, Betsy, what inspired you to start the business that you have going on here at Sew Studio Southborough?
So I've been sewing for most of my life. I started probably around 10 with my mother. My mother is a great seamstress. She can sew anything. And she helped me through many projects that I could not finish. When I got about my 20s, then I started sewing with my sister-in-law, who is a quilter. She's actually a quilt judge. And that really inspired me. That really was more my kind of sewing. So I've been sewing for a long time, and I've tried different ways to, make money from it just on the side. I've done, I worked for a decorator. I've done my own home deck. I've done, lots of t-shirt quilts and other kind of commission quilts. I've done, I had a whole business where I made belts from home deck fabric. That was really fun. But then I was at home with my kids for a long time and decided I needed to go back to work. And I thought, it was a friend of mine I started the business with, and we decided, let's maybe try it. Doesn't seem to be anything like this around here, in this very area. So we thought, then maybe there's a market for it. At the same time, they were cutting all of the home ec classes from the schools. And actually in Southborough, we opened 8 years ago. We opened the same year that they took it out of the middle school. So, there was a need for it. We started at a different location, and we just thought, we'll put out a few to people that we knew. So we wanted to start in Southborough because we had kids, and we knew a lot of kids in the area. And I think that's really the inspiration. The inspiration was to go back to work and use what I knew.
So what you have here is a workspace where the machines are located, the ideas are floating in the air, you are accessible as a teacher, and who are your students? Who are the ones who are learning to sew here?
So I would say mostly we have kids ages 7 to 10. That is our main. We start at 6, which is very young, but we do. Some 6-year-olds can do it with help. And we go all the way up to adults. But our main focus is the younger kids, the school age kids. And they do come in. We have some classes where, they can bring their own ideas. Most of our classes are a set project. We do pre-cut for them so that they can get through the project. And it's about 2.5 hours to 3 hours per class. And they do complete full project, whether it's a bag or a stuffed animal or whatever project we're making that day.
So that's your drop-in class. But you also have a Sew on the Go, Sew to Go class where you are taking the machines and your teaching ability to the schools or to the recreation centers. Can you tell me about that?
So we were offering classes during the week here, and I think that with all the different towns that are close by that come here, the schools were getting out at all different times, and we just couldn't quite get the right timing for them to come here. So we decided, well, what if we went to them? So we reached out to the surrounding towns, and we did, get some schools that would like us to come there. And we do about 8 a week. And we go bring them all the machines, pack them up, and bring them to the schools. And then the kids can stay right after school, and then the parents can pick them up from there. The reason why this works better than the classes here is that there's a little less pressure. They're going to come back for 6 weeks, and usually they run 6 to 8 weeks. They're going to not have to finish in the end of the class. And usually we meet for about an hour. So then we take about 2 weeks to finish a project. So so it's been pretty successful. We go to Hopedale, and we go to Westborough, and we do Southborough, and we have a couple of private schools that we go to also.
That's fabulous. My hope is that somebody who's watching this says, I didn't know they did that. I'm going to look into that. And so we will definitely have the business link at the end of this episode so that people can learn more about you and what you're currently offering. But I'd love to know, what do you have in the works, or what would you like to see you be able to offer that you're not currently offering yet?
Currently, we are usually full with our vacation classes, so that's really great. We do offer classes for all school days off, and also for vacations, usually about 6 classes per school vacation. And we also do summer camp for about 9 weeks in the summer, pretty much every day. So we would like to stick with that. That is, what we mainly do. But we definitely would love to have more weekly classes here. We'd like to find the right time for people to come in here. Maybe some more open studio where people who already can sew can come in here and use the space. There's, so much space here to utilize. And, we'd love to have the adults come in too.
So somebody doesn't have to bring their machine. They can come right here and it's already set up. And in the event that they like the machine and they want to learn more about the machine, I think you offer a class for the people who have been here. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, the class that I think you're referring to is the Get Your Machine Out of the Box class. Yes. And that is when you have a machine and you have no idea how to use it. So a lot of times it's pretty split between adults and children, and they can bring their machine in here, and people literally bring it in the box, and we take it out of the box and we go over all the basics, threading and winding the bobbin, and just the basic stitches that it does and how to clean it, and really just it's kind of try to get them started.
And so they schedule that with you. They call you up and say, I have a machine.
Well, we actually have it on the schedule for, I think we are doing it now twice a month. So, we'll take it. Usually there's only like 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time. So if it's, we have enough teachers if it goes over that, so that everyone can follow along with their own machine.
That's fabulous, because as a quilter in the Quilt Guild will frequently have people say, I'd like to get into this, but I don't even know how to sew, or I'd like to get a sewing machine, but I wouldn't be able to figure it out from the manual. I'd need somebody to show me. So this is a resource where they could call you up and say, this is what I need. And you'll say, we have a class for that. You can look on our calendar and see when it's next happening.
It's very popular, and we decided this year we'll put it on Christmas break, because so many people get it for Christmas, and then they call me right after. There's always a big, influx of calls after Christmas for this class. So we thought maybe get it done over vacation.
That's fabulous. Well, thanks so much for giving me the time. I'm sure that we're going to be able to show some footage of what your space looks like. We just have ourselves sitting here, but I hope people will watch the entire episode, see your space, check out your website, and give you a call so they can get sewing. Thanks so much. So today we have 2 how-tos. The first one is how to make a pillowcase using the Burrito style method. There are lots of different ways that you can make a pillowcase, and there are lots of different free online tutorials. but today I'm going to walk you through the burrito style pillowcase instructions. Then the second how-to is a very quick illustration and instruction on how to make a quilted oven mitt. Now on to how to make a pillowcase using the burrito style method. So for that, you can use a flat sheet that you already have in your linen closet. You don't have to go out and buy fabric if you're going to be practicing for the first time or you want to have your children give it a go. You're going to need 2 pieces of fabric. You're going to need 1 piece of fabric that's 26.5 inches by 41 inches long. So 26.5 by 41. And a second piece that is 41 inches long, but 10 inches wide. And that's going to be sort of your cuff, if you will. So 10 inches by 41, and the pillowcase piece 26.5 by 41. So once you have those cut, you're going to lay out your 26.5 by 41 pillowcase fabric, and that is pretty side facing down, okay? It's going to be facing down. Underneath that, you're going to take your ending piece, your sleeve piece, your flap piece, whatever you want to call that. That's 10 by 41, and you want that pretty side facing up. So that's going to go on the table under here, and you're going to take your 26.5 by 41 here, and you're going to put the raw edges right up here. Make sure the raw edges meet here. Then you're going to make a burrito. You're going to be rolling your case fabric up like this, and you're going to be tucking it in like that. I'll show you a bigger piece right here. Here's your 41. It's all rolled up in here. Here's my wrong side because I've pulled it up, and I've used clips here. I had clipped it to keep it in place. I'm going to remove the clips and use pins so that I keep it all nice and tight in the burrito when I take it to the machine to sew it. And what I'm going to be doing is starting at one end here, and I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam, and I'm going to run all the way down here, removing the pins and the clips as I go. And when I do that, I end up with this long burrito. It's sewn, no clips, no pins, no things to get in the way. And what you're going to then do is pull from the inside out. Your decorative outside of the pillowcase right through the sleeve on the end. You want to be gentle. You don't want to pull the stitches out that you just did, but as you manipulate it, you pull it. Keep pulling, 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 pulling all the way through. And you're going to want to make it nice and crisp. So you're going to take this to the ironing board and you're going to give it all a press. You're going to make it nice and neat and pressed. And it's going to end up looking like this. And you're going to take that 41-inch piece, fold it over, make the right sides or the pretty sides together, and you're going to clip. And here I actually pinned all along this side, and I pinned along this side. You're only going to be sewing 3 sides. You're going to sew this side 1/2 inch seam, this side a 1/2 inch seam, and this side a 1/2 inch seam. This one's already folded, so you don't have to worry about that. So take it to the machine after you've pressed it. You're going to sew 1/2 inch seam here, 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 taking the pins and the clips out, and when you're done, you're going to end up with a pillowcase that you press nice and neatly And the beauty of this is it's very easy. This fabric is, the wrong side is inside, so you can use it for either direction. But let's talk about a few things you want to think about when you're planning the project. You want to use something that will be good as a sheet or a pillowcase. You don't want to use scratchy fabric. You don't want to use something that has paint on it. You want to use something that's 100% cotton ideally, or if you're using an old sheet just to practice, use a regular bed sheet. And you want to make sure that the fabric that you're using for both the pillowcase and this edge are the right direction. So if you will, when we looked at this one, this was a holiday print that doesn't have a direction. There's some things that are upside down, there are some things that are the other way. You don't want to have your pillowcase running the wrong direction. The other thing you want to think about is holidays. You can use Valentine's fabric, you could use Christmas fabric, you could use Easter fabric, you could take the sheet from a twin bed that your child slept on as a little one and make it into a pillowcase for their new room. You could use a favorite set of sheets to make pillowcases to send them off to college with. You could make pillowcases as birthday party favors. You could do pillowcases to send them off to camp, where campers use pens and sign their name at the end of the camp session. So there are a lot of different options that you can use this burrito style method for. And as I said, at the end of the episode, you'll have some links to some free tutorials online. So I hope this project is something that you might want to give a go at home with your kids or teens. Okay, so next up, how to make a quilted oven mitt using Insulbright to protect your hands from the heat. So for that, you're going to want to get yourself a pattern. I got this from Professor Pincushion online, a free pattern, and it prints out bigger than one piece of paper, so you'll have two pieces of paper and you'll tape it. You're going to need cotton fabric. Be about a, I'd say 18 by 22 piece, and you'll be able to get two sides to your oven mitt out of that. That's a cotton. And you'll need Insulbright, which is a heat-resistant fabric or item. Get that at Joann's or any other craft store. You're going to need quilt batting, cotton batting. You're going to use quite a few layers, an Insulbright and a cotton batting. And then you're also going to need a lining fabric. These are leftover from the scraps of a flannel sheet set that I had at home. So I'm going to use that because it's just going to be on the inside of the oven mitt. So just to recap, you're going to need a pattern. You're going to need cotton fabric. You're going to need Insulbright. You're going to need some cotton batting left over from a quilt project or crafting project, and you're going to need a lining fabric. And the important bit to take a look at when you're deciding on your fabric is the direction of the fabric. I know this one runs left to right, and my oven mitt pattern fits nicely right here. And I want to put it here because I want my graphic on my oven mitt to run left to right. If I had done it this way, it would be a little cockamamie and it wouldn't fit. I wouldn't get two on here. So please pay attention when you are picking your fabric for the outside of your oven mitt. You want to make sure it goes the direction that you had intended. So you're going to layer up your oven mitt. You're going to put your lining. Okay, put your lining out. You can put a layer of the batting, the cotton batting. We'll pretend that is cotton batting. And then you're going to put your layer of Insulbright down. Then you're going to put another layer of cotton batting. So you've got inside oven mitt, a layer of cotton batting, a layer of Insulbright, and a layer of cotton batting, and finally your feature fabric or your outside fabric. You're going to pin it all in place, press it all in place, and then you're going to mark it however you want to mark it, with a pencil on a 45-degree angle. If you want to make a grid for quilting, you can do meandering, whatever it is that you want to do to quilt this item. For my sample here, I use the 45-degree angle, mark on my ruler, and you'll see the back side of my lining. So it was 45 degrees. I marked it across, sewed with a regular sewing machine using a walking foot, but you just follow the line. You just follow, it's a straight stitch, and you just keep stitching, stitching, stitching. You end up with a very thick piece. You probably have to increase your stitch length because you're going through so many layers of fabric. Then you have this whole piece completed and quilted. You're going to take your pattern and you're going to outline it with a pencil or a marker and make sure that you have that expertly marked, because you're going to be cutting. You don't want it to be too small. And then what I do, so that I have a good match, is I will then flip my pattern like this and trace it. Or another trick is I can take my entire piece, fold it over, make sure all my edges are right, and put it on here, mark it. And what I will do is I will sew right on that line. Sew right on that marked line. And then I will make sure I have a little bit of extra overlap here, and I will cut that out once I get to the end of my project. I'm going to draw a line here to make sure I have the ending of my mitt, but I am not sewing. I have to have an opening there, so I'm really just sewing all around here. I keep it pinned, keep it set, and then when I get to the end, I have a quilted oven mitt that looks like this, and at the bottom of here, I put on a binding, very much like a quilt binding. And with the tutorial that is available in the link at the bottom after the comments or the credits, there'll be lots of different ways that you could put on a binding at the end. You don't have to sew on another one. You could just fold it over on itself and sew it. But it's a neat way to finish it, and it's a great little kitchen item. And I hope that your children or teens give it a try. It's another one of these project-based sewing creations that you can use in a class at Sew Studio in Southborough or any of the other local resources that are in and around Hopkinton. Thanks for watching today's episode. I hope there was something that we covered that was of interest to you. Please take a look at the free links underneath the comments section or running through the credits. They are links to online tutorials with free patterns for the two how-tos that I went over in today's episode.